How to practice speaking confidently. Hey, have you ever watched a speaker on stage and you're like, wow, they're so confident. And other times you're watching somebody, you're like, oh, they're not confident enough at all in what they're saying. There's a fine line between the two, right? There could even be someone that's so confident, you're like, oh, this is crazy. I don't even want to watch this person. I think about for my own confidence, how it can help you. I'm going to give you some of the tools and tricks and techniques that have helped me to become a more confident speaker. Thanks for joining me today. So here's the thing, I'm a confident performer and speaker because I've practiced doing it so much. I've been on thousands of stages around the world, whether it's been in person or online, and so I'm very comfortable in front of an audience. But the confidence comes from preparation, it comes from practice, it comes from performance. And so having those opportunities are important in the first place. So let's talk about the importance of confidence in speaking. When it comes to having confidence, people want to see somebody that actually knows what he's saying and believes what he's saying. I think in a lot of cases, the more you believe what you're saying, the more they'll believe what you're saying. And so there is this old Greek tale about Demosthenes. He was a speaker and he was trying to figure out how to get over this speech impediment. And so he put a bunch of rocks in his mouth and he tried to speak to the roaring sound of the sea. Now, that's an interesting way to figure out how to become a more confident speaker. Maybe creating within the impediment another impediment could equal it out. And so when you think about the ways that you need to come through your confidence in terms of challenging yourself, putting yourself in front of a camera, all of those things matter. There are 3 pillars for building confidence in terms of speaking. Pillar number 1 is preparation. Pillar 2 is physical mastery. And pillar 3 is psychological tactics. Let's talk about pillar number 1, preparation first. So I like to structure my speech around certain keywords. That's the best structure that I can think of for myself. When it comes to the preparation, it just takes time to work through this. So I've come up with a couple of anchor points or keywords that I really like to use in my speaking, such as I do talk about something called the promise, and I talk about signature moves, and I talk about different elements within those. So the promise to the audience is the promise to everyone. The promise to the family is the work family or the home family. The promise to the one is the promise to yourself. I also talk about signature moves, how all of us have talents, gifts, and skills. These are things that I can talk about pretty much all the time, all day. And so for yourself, when it comes to your preparation, if you can just have an anchor word or a key word that you can build the entire speech around, that's a great part of your preparation. So here's an actionable takeaway I hope that you'll write down right now. I'd love for you to write down 3 of the pillars that you would want to talk about. 3 points, something that you want people to understand. Like I said, when I talk about promise, it's the audience, the family, the one. What are your 3? Write them down. Pillar number 2 is physical mastery. Now, when we talk about physical mastery, I'm talking about your body or your voice, the utilization of all of these tools that we have, which make up who we are. That helps us to establish our confidence as a speaker. It's one thing to be prepared. It's another thing to not present it well. And so to have these parts ready to go, that's a very important thing. When it comes to physical mastery, I like to talk about our stance, our power pose. If I'm sitting, I can still appear like I'm fully engaged just because I know how to utilize my body. I'm not looking around, I'm not doing something else. I'm fully here with you. This is part of that physical mastery. I'd also like you to practice something if you want to go for this. That would be so cool to just practice speaking confidently into the camera. Turn on the camera, start recording yourself, whether it's your phone or your friend can even take some video of you. That might even be more intimidating. And the next level would be, hey, I'm going to start talking online, going live. That's when your physical mastery comes through. Your face, your voice, the communication skills. Confidence grows quickly when we practice. I'd love for you to check out another video I made on this channel if you just type in this very title, How to Use Body Language in Public Speaking. Yes, I love talking about that subject and I know it'll help you as well. Pillar number 3 is psychological tactics. Now you may not have thought about this one, but I hope you enjoy this part. I'd like for you to talk to yourself in a positive way. Before you give a presentation, there's a lot of important things you need to do on your way to the gig. For example, if you're checking emails right before you go on stage, or if you're listening to something like talk radio before you go to present to a bunch of people an inspirational message, you might be in a negative space. And so listening to something uplifting, not checking your emails or texts before you go on stage, those types of things really do matter. And that's part of the psychological tactics I'm referring to. I'd also like to recommend that you do some positive affirmations backstage or before you press play on that camera. This will bring more confidence to you as you speak. Now you're prepared, you have physical mastery, and yes, you have these psychological tactics. You are ready. I'm excited for you to get on that stage. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, I've made another video that could be very helpful. If you'll type in this very title, How to Get Over the Fear of Public Speaking. How to Get Over Fear of Public Speaking is such a cool video because I talk about how we can utilize fear in order to be better in our speech. So let's talk about some unconventional methods for practicing and getting more confidence as a speaker. We could call this the karaoke game or the emulation game. I've talked about this in other videos, but I love watching speakers and mimicking or emulating what they're doing. For example, if I like the way they use their slides, if I like the way they use their hands, if I like how they go down on one knee, or if I like the way they use their voice, then I'm going to try to do my best to emulate that without necessarily doing a rip-off impression, but rather sharing my own signature moves that make me who I am, while leaning into doing something similar to what they are. One of my favorites to watch, or at least listen to when I go on YouTube, is a guy named Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, one of the great speakers of all time. He gave some incredible speeches, and when you hear him, you think, wow, that's an aspiration that I wish that I had as a speaker, that kind of confidence and power in his voice, in his articulation, in his tone. There were things that he said that were so beautiful and powerful. I wish I had it memorized, but it would go something like this. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. The way that that language comes across is so beautiful because he practiced and because he cared about the way that it sounded. And so as you listen to someone like him, as you emulate or do a karaoke version of it, that will help you improve as much as you possibly can. I would also recommend that you measure your progress. The best way to do that, truly, in terms of coming to more confidence, is to record yourself. Just record yourself speaking on a stage and watch it back. I might also recommend turning the camera on the audience to be able to see what they're doing and where they're responding. This will give you more confidence because you'll see where you're needing to tweak. Maybe you're moving too much. Maybe you're standing still too much. There are just different things that we can do to critique ourselves. But I would challenge you to actually watch a video of yourself speaking and go back and watch it alone. Don't worry, you can cry in the corner if you need to. I've been there too. But just watch yourself and say, I got this. I know I can improve. And pick one thing each time to improve upon. Here's something I would love for you to do if you would. I know that this will help you in your speaking career as well as your confidence if you're not making a career of it. Just becoming a more confident speaker is so essential to leadership and to having a great communication presence. So I'd love for you to go and check out icmprocess.com, and there you'll find an assessment form where you can actually figure out for yourself what you identify and clarify and magnify are your signature moves. You see, the more that you realize what you have that makes you unique from everyone else, the better you'll be in your confidence, because then you can own it, you can leverage it, you can teach and share it. And so as you go to icmprocess.com, I hope that that's helpful for you. I hope that you'll also take the time with all of these points that I've given you to give it a shot. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited for you to have more confidence in your public speaking.